All right.
Turn it on.
As you speak, just feel free to adjust the mic so that it's not directly in front of your face. And other than does anyone have any questions? Okay, go ahead and get started. Okay. Welcome and thank you for being here today. My name is Stacy Wood. I am a public information officer for Buncombe County government. Due to the federal government shutdown and its impact on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Buncombe County and a number of community partners are working to ensure continuity of essential services and, to the extent possible, minimize impacts to the approximately 29,551 individuals in over 16,000 households who receive SNAP in Buncombe County. Joining us today, we have David Sweat, Health and Human Services Director, Paula Sellers, Bounty and Soul, Micah Chrisman, Manna Food Bank, and Amanda Edwards, Chair, Board of Commissioners. Also want to recognize the elected officials standing behind me, Register of Deeds, Drew Reisinger, Commissioner Drew Ball, Chairwoman Amanda Edwards, Commissioner Wells, and Commissioner Whitesides. And at this point, we'll turn things over to David Sweat, Buncombe County's Health and Human Services Director, to start our updates. And at the end of this briefing, we will allow for questions from the media who are here in person and joining us virtually. David?
Thank you, everyone, and good morning. As Stacy shared, we have about a little over 16,000 households in Buncombe County that receive SNAP benefits, and beginning on November 1st or beginning next week, the new benefits will not be issued to those recipients. So that is going to have a significant impact in our community, and we want to address this disruption. Any disruption to people's ability to access food is concerning, but also as our community is recovering from Tropical Storm Helene, we know that food insecurity has grown. In our recent Casper survey that the health department did this summer, it was noted that over half of our households expressed anxiety, worry, or stress that another disaster would be happening and that would impact them and their household. And they were already worried about that. And for 7% of the Casper survey respondents, they specifically noted that food insecurity was an ongoing concern following the storm. So that was the situation as we come into these developments of recent days. Here's the situation. Our economic services offices remain open. And even though the SNAP benefits are being disrupted, the work of our economic services division is not being disrupted. And so we encourage any resident who needs to continue to apply and interact with their caseworkers, income maintenance caseworkers at Health and Human Services. Will continue to receive applications, continue to process applications, continuing the work to keep people in the system or help people get into the system, even though the benefits would not yet be flowing. SNAP benefits are issued on a staggered schedule. It's not a situation where all the benefits are loaded on the same day. What we have is a rolling period between the 3rd of the month and the 21st of the month where the benefits are added. And so, for instance, some recipients here in Buncombe County got their October benefits on October 21st. So everybody is not going to be impacted at the same time and in the same way. Anybody who has benefits on their card, their benefits card is still going to work and that money is still in their account, right? But what will begin to happen next week is the new benefits that should have been loaded for November, starting on November 3rd, those will not be added. So that immediate impact is to 1,500 families on November 3rd. So in terms of what is a SNAP benefit, some people may wonder about that. On average, per individual, it's about $171 a month. Per household, it's about $344 a month that SNAP benefits represent here in Buncombe County. And across North Carolina, 1 out of every 8 people in the state receive SNAP benefits. 34% of those families include an adult who's an older person or somebody who's disabled. We know that our area, Buncombe County, has one of the highest costs of living in the state. And that makes food security issues even more difficult, even in the best of times. And in North Carolina, 46% of the families that receive SNAP benefits are for working families, people who have jobs. They just don't make enough money to meet all of their food needs every month with the income that they are making. So there's an additional program, WIC. You've heard of that, Women, Infants, and Children. Right now, WIC is funded through November 15th. But that also is a program that brings additional food resources to women, infants, and children. So at the moment, our WIC office is open, continuing to do all the normal work we do with clients, and we are funded in that program through November 15th. So the SNAP benefits end on November 1st unless something changes, but WIC continues to be funded through November 15th. When you combine what is dispersed in benefits through these programs, WIC and SNAP, that results in about $13 million a month added to our local food economy here in Buncombe County. And so we're dispersing about $5 million in benefits, but those benefits create an additional $1.73 on average in economic activity in the county. So that means Buncombe County's local food economy is about to experience a $13 million decrease headed into November unless something changes. Also, Buncombe County government is being impacted by the shutdown, and not everybody understands that. We wanted to just mention that we receive here in Buncombe County about $838,000 a week in federal government revenue that helps pay for the staff that work in Health and Human Services. During the shutdown, or ever since the shutdown, that flow of funding has stopped. But the work of our staff has not stopped. We continue to be open, we continue to work on your behalf, and we'll continue to do so for the foreseeable future until somebody tells us not to. We've also talked to our school partners, and I'm happy to report that the free meals that they offer to our children through the schools have not been impacted by any of the federal government shutdown, and that activity will continue. But simply put, the termination of these benefits is going to have an impact in Buncombe County. It's going to impact our recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene. It's going to impact the health and well-being of our children and families, and it's going to impact our local economy. So here's what we're doing about it today, and also what we're going to ask you to help us do. We are continuing to process the applications for SNAP benefits. We want to make sure that even with the pause, our work continues so that at whatever point in time the federal government reopens and the flow of money begins to be restored, people are in the pipeline, they're in the system, and their benefits can be loaded on schedule. We're also adding staff to help support the calls coming into our economic services and One Buncombe phone lines. So we've added surge staffing there so that there's people to take your calls and answer your questions. We're sending out SNAP recipients. We're sending text messages and phone calls to let them know about the latest update on their benefits. And we're working with our community partners, 2 of whom you will hear from momentarily, about ways that we can collaborate to bolster the local safety net. We're also operating and continuing to operate our community engagement markets, which offer food at no cost throughout the community every week in various locations. There are no requirements for anyone to receive a box of food. You just simply show up. When we're at a location, we bring a certain amount of food, and we are there until it's all been given away. And that's kind of the way that system works. We move those markets around the county, but today I'm going to give you next week's schedule just so you'll know. Monday, we'll be in Swannanoa at the parking lot of Asheville Christian Academy, beginning at 4:30 p.m. And then on Tuesday, we will be at the Inca Middle School, beginning at 4:30 p.m. Wednesday, we'll be at the Aston Park Apartments, beginning at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we close out next Friday at Fairview Public Library at 3 p.m. But there's a full schedule, and every week those community engagement markets move to different locations in the county. If you want to see that schedule, go to www.buncombenc.gov/community engagement. So you can find the calendar there. Our Register of Deeds is operating a food bank that also has a diaper bank with free diapers, baby whites, and baby formula at their offices at 205 College Street, across the street. And they operate Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So folks who need those assistance can go there to receive that. And a number of our libraries also host YMCA mobile markets. And those community engagement markets, similar to our community engagement markets, move around. But next week, they will be at the Swannanoa Library Thursday, beginning at 11 a.m. until noon. And the full schedule for their markets, their mobile markets, can be found at ymcawnc.org. Now, here's where you can help. Beginning tomorrow, we are launching a food drive. And that food drive is to support Manna Food Bank. And the Manna Food Bank, I believe Micah can verify this, but serve about 137,000 people a month. And we are trying to increase the flow of food into the food pantry and food bank system by starting a community food drive that will begin operating tomorrow morning. And we will have donation collection sites at each of our 12 libraries. So we would encourage people to take non-perishable food items, nothing in a glass jar, please, but things in cans and boxes, and bring it to the library location nearest you, put it into the donation barrel, and then that food will be added to the resources that Manna has to distribute to the other food pantries and partners throughout the community. And lastly, because we know that our media partners here assembled have a regional reach, I just want to let you know, yesterday I was in a meeting with the other directors from the other DSS directors across the Western region of North Carolina. And since I was going to have this opportunity to speak with you, I asked them, what would you ask me to say on your behalf? And what they said is, if you live outside of Buncombe County and you want to either get help or find out how you can help, just contact your local DSS office in the county, wherever it is you live. All of us in the region are working to bolster the local safety support system and to support our recipients as best we can during this time of disruption. So there are also statewide resources to help connect residents. You can always call 211 or go to nc211.org for their resource listings that are available in your area. And we are going to stay committed to continuing to find other ways to mitigate the impacts of this disruption to our community. So please continue to watch your social media channels and other news information sources in our website for information as this continues to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we'll hear from Paula Sellers with Bounty and Soul.
Thank you, Stacy, and good morning, everyone. I'm Paula Sellers, Deputy Director of Bounty and Soul. Bounty and Soul works at the intersection of food, farms, and health. Together, we connect, we share, and we celebrate nutritious food, education, and community. In 2025, we've supported the local food and farm economy with over $980,000 in purchasing from local farms and regional produce distributors. We've created a new market for local and regional farms by providing fresh local food with dignity to those experiencing food insecurity, folks who might not otherwise have access to the bounty of local food. Our food hub is located in the Black Mountain Swannanoa Valley. Our client choice community markets are place-based. That is, we partner with community serving organizations across Buncombe County to stand up produce markets and elevate community health. We provide home delivery for those with health and mobility challenges and other barriers to accessing markets. We provide food to 7 pantry partners and produce box deliveries via other partners to another 6 neighborhoods in Buncombe County each week. We provide nutrition education, recipe samples, social determinant of health supports, via our network partners at all community markets. Also disease management classes, fitness classes, and more, all at no cost, and there are no eligibility requirements. Our primary goal is to support individuals experiencing food insecurity to advance their health. Prior to Hurricane Helene, Bounty and Soul served an average of 13,500 individuals per month. Post-Helene, we've been serving 26,000 individuals per month across 10 community markets per week. That was an instantaneous doubling. We distribute about 180,000 pounds of fresh produce per month. About 22% of the pounds we distribute are donated by our partner, Manna Food Bank. About 60% is purchased by Bounty and Soul. The remaining 18% is donated from local farms, retail grocers, and businesses. This doubling of capacity was made possible by the purchase of our new food hub directly before Helene. Our refrigeration is now maxed out every week, and we're engaged in a capital campaign toward the purchase of an adjacent building to expand our food hub campus. If even 25% of the 30,000 SNAP recipients in Buncombe County were to begin visiting our markets newly, we would experience another doubling of need for healthy food, bringing us at Bounty and Soul to 50,000 participants per month, a level we believe we could see if this crisis is protracted. Our staff and volunteers are devoted, they're strategic, they've become experienced in a crisis, and they're highly motivated, but we will need financial and partnership support to meet the moment. Bounty and Soul is engaged with Buncombe County to quickly assess current service provision by food access organizations to identify gaps, to identify overlaps, and most especially assets to cover our geography with food resources and share infrastructure and assets. That strategic planning starts this afternoon. Bounty and Soul has increased our food purchasing budget dramatically to meet this recent crisis. And although fresh produce is our commitment to the community, we will be sourcing much more shelf-stable, healthy foods to get more food out into the community. We'll do our best to engage new financial and retail food partnerships for this purpose. Before I close, I'd like to talk about those in our community who are experiencing food insecurity. Just yesterday, a mother was among 4 households that called with emergency same-day food need. There were 4 children and 4 adults living in the home. There was no food in the home and there was no gas in the car. We quickly delivered to that family, but this is the kind of situation that we anticipate increasing in frequency. As David mentioned, those experiencing food insecurity include people who have experienced home loss or job loss related to Helene, older adults living on fixed incomes, those working low-wage jobs in our economy, people experiencing medical issues or medical debt, those who are unemployed due to family caregiving, due to injury or mental health issues, those who have experienced life-altering events, trauma, domestic violence, veterans, single-parent households, those with difficulty paying for unaffordable housing in this region, and importantly, children living with adults in any of those circumstances. And any of us could find ourselves in one or several of these situations. While SNAP benefits will be restored when the government opens, permanent and substantial federal SNAP cuts are already written into law for 2026 and beyond. Therefore, increased capacity will be needed indefinitely, as the life circumstances of people experiencing food insecurity will require much wider systemic change before food insecurity will abate. While the nonprofit sector will work tirelessly, as we have post-Helene, to ensure our neighbors are fed and healthy, some community members, particularly children and the elderly, will experience hunger, and yes, even malnutrition, at a scale we have not seen unless SNAP is restored or substantial resources are deployed. At Bounty and Soul, we care for our community as we would care for a loved one. Today, more than ever, we choose love. Those wishing to support Bounty and Soul can visit our website, bountyandsoul.org, and donate there. This is, for us, more strategic than donating shelf-stable foods to us directly. If you wish to do that, please use the route described by David through Manna. Cash allows us to purchase in quantity, scale, and at cost that gives us the most latitude in this situation. Also, we welcome you to volunteer. Executive Director Ali Kasparian and I are available to collaborate with partners across the county to meet the expanding needs of the community in this important time. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Micah Chrisman with Manna Food Bank.
Morning, everybody. Just want to start by saying thank you to my colleagues and to the county for hosting this press conference. And we are so excited just to be here to lock shoulders, walk in step with each other to support our communities in need. As we step into this fourth week of the federal government shutdown, Manna and our partner network of over 220 food pantry partners across the region, including folks like you just heard from Bounty and Soul, we're here to roll up our sleeves and get to work. We've been supporting our communities since the wake of Hurricane Helene, and I say with a heavy heart that we are serving over 195,000 visits to our food pantries every single month on average. So that number that we mentioned earlier, the 135,000, that's now jumped to 195,000 visits to our food pantries, and that's across 16 counties here in Western North Carolina. But we do not despair, because we know that our communities have been resilient. We've gone through COVID, we've been through Hurricane Helene, and despite the government shutdown, we're here for each other now. And so we're really excited to be partnering with the county, as we've talked about, that we're going to be hosting this food drive. And so again, want to reiterate that folks can, starting tomorrow, go to their local to their local county library. And we would ask that you would bring great things like canned proteins, canned vegetables, shelf-stable milk and baby formula, rice and pasta, things that we can help make sure it's shelf-stable and can get it distributed out to the farthest reaches and the farthest counties, most rural communities. Manna Food Bank, we've already taken steps proactively in the weeks leading up to this. And even just a couple months ago, we started our Essential Foods program. So we have been purchasing and using disaster dollars to buy locally sourced fresh produce, meat, cheese, and eggs from our local farmers. And we've been making sure that that has been a continuous resource to our food partners across the region for weeks. And despite all of our great efforts, unfortunately, we know that the need is rising, and we will see an increase in surge and need to our pantries next week when SNAP benefits are paused. So preemptively, again, we bought a bulk order and we deployed that to our food pantries. And we've now also deployed another 1.5 million from our reserves to allow us to purchase more food, and we'll be issuing that out in the days ahead. We're assuring expanded staff to our food helpline so that folks who need food assistance and they can call our food helpline can get somebody on the other line to help answer those calls. We're also focusing on increasing food access to our partners by serving communities with the largest populations enrolled in SNAP. So we're doing some of that targeted outreach with our partners and doing that assessment. We're also looking at launching a virtual food drive, just to again reiterate that, again, all the food that folks can help provide and bring as donations is crucial, but we can also work with our food producers to get low cost of foods. And so for every dollar someone donates to us, we can provide over 4 meals to their community in need. So we're here to be with each other. And if you or yourself or somebody you know is needing food assistance, they can go to mannafoodbank.org and use our food finder tool. They put in their zip code and they can find a food pantry near them. And also folks can call our food helpline at 828-290-9749. Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate your help and support in our community in the days ahead.
And our final speaker is Buncombe County Board of Commissioners Chair, Amanda Edwards.
Good morning, everyone. This time last year, we had become experts at taking care of our neighbors. We checked on each other, we shared meals, and made sure that when folks went to bed, they were not thirsty or hungry. And now we must be just as committed to taking those same actions once again. But unlike last year, this is not a natural disaster. It's man-made, and it has been made in Washington, D.C. The consequences of the federal government shutdown are devastating and far-reaching. People's livelihood and right to have food on the table is not and should never be political. In Buncombe County, we're committed to taking care of our neighbors. And I want to be clear. People who receive SNAP are our neighbors. More than 2/3 of households that receive SNAP are homes with children. 1/5 of SNAP recipients are elderly. We're talking about feeding our children and our grandparents. Where is the humanity in Washington? Like David shared, in Buncombe County, we're working to help our community have fundamental access to food. He doesn't have to do this, but Drew Reisinger, our Register of Deeds, saw a need, and he is making sure that families can access diapers and formula for their babies. Like Paula and Micah shared, our community partners are working to fill the gaps. Thanks to their work, as you've heard, thousands of people each week are able to get food. But because of this federal government shutdown, the need has grown and will continue to grow exponentially. We're not just talking about helping here in Buncombe County. Buncombe County employees have dedicated leave to serve our community, and we encourage them to take that leave to help these community partners ensure that they have the people power to get food into our community. If you have time, I hope you will join us. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing with your time. Call your federal representatives in Washington, Senator Tillis, Senator Budd, and Congressman Edwards, and tell them to unlock these critical funds, the critical funds that support our most vulnerable neighbors, and to end the shutdown now. As your elected leaders, we're doing just that. And if there's one thing that we learned over the last year, we can do anything when we do it together as Buncombe County. I'm going to say this one more time. Unlock the funds, end the shutdown now. Thank you.
Now, at this time, we have about 10 minutes for questions from the media who are participating here in person and on a separate Zoom call. So we'll go ahead and get started with questions from media who are here in person. Jacob?
Is there any direct outreach to operators of low-income housing for older adults, the housing authority, and is the county coordinating with the city at all?
Well, we are collaborating with everyone we can think of to collaborate with. I know that a number of these community engagement markets and community mobile markets and food pantry partners pop up in different locations around the county. I can't say for sure which specific locations may or may not have those show up. You know, as I listed, we have, for instance, next week, we have one in an apartment complex. So I would say the food finder tool that Manna spoke of is the best place for someone to go to see where are the pantries near me, and also check the mobile market schedule, as I suggested, through our community engagement calendar for ours, YMCA's for theirs, and find out where the food is showing up at. But we are collaborating with, honestly, if you want to collaborate with us, just let us know, when we'll find a way to use that.
For you.
Yeah.
You gave some numbers, I think, for the month, 29,000 individuals, I think you said 16,000 households.
Right.
Can you talk about this, if this begins November 3rd, what are we looking at on a daily basis that you anticipate that you will see as far as an uptick of people needing help? I think you or someone mentioned that family that called with an emergency, I think Bounty and Soul. What do you look on a November 3rd, November 4th, November 6th, 5th?
Right. Well, we have a schedule of days when benefits are loaded into the system. It's about 1,500 families at a time, and it's on a rolling basis. So the first families would be the November 3rd families at 1,500. In between then and November 21st, you would see all 16,000 households be impacted. But like I said, some folks just got their October benefits, so they still have benefits on their card. The cards are not being turned off. And so if you still have money in your account, you can still use it. It's just that whenever your normal day to get new benefits is, there won't be new benefits loaded on unless something changes. I will say this also. We know that everyone who needs help is not enrolled in SNAP. And that the 29,000 households, 29,000 individuals does not even come close to the number of people in the region or in our county that need help. You heard the numbers that Micah referenced, 195,000 people coming to the Manna Food Bank partners already. So we're just going to be adding to the problem as we have more people that we've been helping are going to need to also access that help. But I'm not under any illusion that the number of 29,000 households represents all the people who need this assistance.
And then one more word. And have you talked to Senator Budd? Have you talked to Senator Tillis? Have you talked to Congressman Chuck Edwards? Obviously, we know the scenario right now in DC, but have you had actual communication?
I've had communication with their staffs, and that is to the extent of it. They are relying heavily on their local staff to relay communication. I do want to answer a follow-up about working with the city. I have been in communication with Mayor Manheimer, and she is sharing the resources, and they're working with staff to coordinate a food drive campaign to support the work that the county is doing. And when this is over, I will be sharing all of the resources with the mayors of the other municipalities that are located here in Buncombe County to ask for them to join us in those efforts.
And to add to that, we are liaising with the Asheville Housing Authority currently as a part of an incident management team that the county has established, created to respond to the federal shutdown impacts. Any other questions?
specifically, I don't know, you might have mentioned, but how many children are impacted of the 29,000?
I couldn't get off the top of my head. We can try to get that number for you.
Okay.
I don't have that.
Steve?
Have any local businesses offered to help? Like HCA and Eagle or anything like that?
I'm not aware of any at this time.
DI called them and asked, and they didn't quickly say yes.
Thanks.
I serve on the Chamber of Commerce Board and the Economic Development Coalition Boards. The Chamber meets this afternoon, the EDC meets tomorrow, and I will be sharing this information with the members of both of those boards and asking them to take that message back to their respective industries to ask them to support the initiatives and the efforts as well.
I have one more.
Jason's first.
Fine.
Jason's first. Go for it, Jason.
Micah, can you just give us an update on your recovery from Helene? Because honestly, I've had a hard time keeping up with where you are now.
Yep.
Where you are in building the structures that you need, the warehousing that you need. And
Yep.
like, where are you right now on top of this we need from us?
Yeah, it's truthfully, the metaphor we give is we're building the plane while we're flying it, kind of thing. But yeah, our new warehouse is in Mills River at 99 Broadpoint Drive. And we are in the final kind of months of building out our freezer, fridge, cooler space. So it's a huge, the whole warehouse is about 84,000 square feet, but that's an additional 6,500 square feet of freezer cooler space. That is, the walls are up and we've got generator and everything being installed, I think this last couple of weeks. So in the interim, what we've been doing is using reefer trucks to keep cold storage food. So we have somewhere, I think, in the ballpark of 12 to 15 of those that are just in constant rotation of pulling cold food out and getting it out to our partners. So we'll be really glad and thankful once our freezer cooler is done when we can retire using those reefer trucks, because those require gas, diesel, and running them 24/7. So we have staff on call, checking them throughout the weekends to make sure they don't run out of fuel to keep the food cold. So yes, and then there'll be lots of other stages of construction. But as far as we're putting out more food than we have our capacity, even on Swananoa River Road. I believe the number we're averaging somewhere between 100 and 120,000 pounds of food a day going out to our communities. So, yeah, we have an incredible operations staff who are keeping things going. And just want to reiterate, though, that for every meal that a food bank can provide, SNAP provides 9 meals. So just want to clarify for folks that I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of our community and everything, the charitable work that we can do, but requiring charitable organizations to fill this need and this gap, especially on top of recovery that our region's gone through, is not feasible. And so despite our best efforts and everything, we're going to roll up our sleeves and be here with our community. We need partnerships from all levels, from corporations to federal support, state, our elected officials. It takes a whole community. So thank you for asking that.
Thank you.
Jacob?
If the courts step in or there's some sort of last minute funding deal before Saturday, will benefits go out on time next month?
Whenever the federal government resumes the flow, I mean, Buncombe County does not load the benefits. That's done like a direct deposit by the federal government. What we do is do the eligibility criteria verification, loading people into the system and all that. Once they turn on the flow of money and people's accounts start to get those direct deposits, it'll be working. But other than that, you'd have to direct that question, I suppose, to the Department of Health and Human Services.
So you haven't gotten any guidance from the state or federal government on that?
Not on that issue, not specifically on that issue, but we would, just knowing how it operates, if they turn on the direct deposits, they would flow. So.
Are there any questions in the Zoom chat? No questions. Okay. Well, we are at the 10-minute mark. So we will conclude today's briefing. Thank you all for being here and for helping us to share this important information with our community. Again, just want to reiterate, you can still continue to call Economic Services to 828-250-5000, or you can call the One Buncombe number at 828-250-6100 for additional help in Buncombe County. Thank you so much.